record. All right, we are day one of the boot camp training. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 C's to build a school of excellence. So I'm really excited to get started here. For those of you that have never been to any of my trainings before, or know who I am, or have been to any of our Facebook Lives, let me just tell you real quickly who I am. So my name is Khanya Wolshansky. I'm an early childhood leadership coach, and I work with preschool directors and owners to help them build a school of excellence. So just a little bit personally about who I am. These are my kids. I just had a little boy 2.5 weeks ago. That's my son. And these are my 3 other kids. So I'm blessed with 4 children, thank God. I started my early childhood journey 11 years ago when I started working in Preschool of the Arts, which is a Reggio-inspired school located in the city. I left Preschool of the Arts and went to get my master's in early childhood and special education in Mercy College. And a little over 2 years ago, I started Discover Ed Consulting, which is the business that I do right now, where I help early childhood leaders build a school of excellence, build teachers as leaders, create a collaborative culture, and everything else that's involved in building a school of excellence. I've had the privilege of really traveling to many different places. I've met a lot of incredible people, and I've been featured in a lot of different media, a lot of different podcasts. This actually hasn't been updated. I was just recently interviewed on the Big Talk, who is the producer of TEDx in Lincoln Square. So I've really had the privilege of really getting around the block, and I'm really excited about being here today. So before we continue, let me just make sure that we are still streaming without a problem in the Facebook group. So just give me a second here and let me get in to the Facebook group. They can hear me. Everyone can hear me. Awesome. Okay. Everyone can hear me just fine. Megan, hi. Nice to see you. All righty. So we are good in the Facebook group. So we are going to get back to business here. All right, so let's talk about what you're going to learn today. We're going to start off with identifying what are the 3 C's that determine the success and failure of every single school, okay? Then we're going to talk about how to run a quick diagnostic of where your school is holding right now, because one of the biggest things that you need to understand as a director, as an owner, is that you need to be able to run diagnostics about where your school is holding so that you know where you're supposed to focus as a school leader. If you don't know where you're supposed to focus, you're constantly shooting in the dark. You have to understand where you are, where you're supposed to be going, and how you're supposed to be leading. We're going to be talking about your gap in your leadership that's holding you back from constantly becoming a better leader. And I'm going to talk about actions and strategies to get you started on your success path. So let me know in the comments if you're excited about what we're going to be talking about today. And let me open up my comment section here so I can actually see what you guys are saying. All right, so people in the Facebook group that are watching there, let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section if you're excited about what we're going to be talking about today. Awesome, awesome. Jennifer. Okay. I think we're running with a slight lag in the Facebook group, but hopefully not too strong. Let's see here. Sorry, ladies. I just want to make sure that we're running together here. Okay. All right, so let's start with something that I introduced on a different training that we did a couple weeks ago, which is the Build a School of Excellence framework, okay? So we have the 3 C's, which is clarity, competence, and confidence. And that is what you need in order to build a school of excellence. And within the 3 of them, I'm going to explain to you how that ties it all together. But more importantly is that when you get these 3 pieces right, you get powerful accountability, effective leadership, and a positive culture. And those are the 3 things that you ultimately need in order to get everything else that you want in your school running efficiently. So let's talk about what are the 3 C's: clarity, competence, and confidence. And each of those, I'm going to break them down for you and show you exactly how it pans out in a day-to-day, in the day-to-day operations of your school. Because one of the things that are very different about the way that I do trainings is that I'm not just going to be talking theory. I get super practical and how this applies in your school, and I'm going to give you action steps of exactly what you could do in your school tomorrow morning. So something up here on the Facebook group, it's really lagging. Let's get back into it. Okay, so how do we run the diagnostic of the 3 C's? Okay, we're going to dive into the 3 C's in a second, but how do we actually run the diagnostic? So number one is, are we struggling with teacher accountability? So let me know in the comment section if that's something that you struggle with, and give me an example of where the struggle is when it comes to accountability. What do you struggle with holding them accountable to? All right, do your leadership skills need fine tuning? And what are those leadership skills that you feel like, gosh, I really wish I could get better at this? And lastly, is your school environment, staff morale, teacher buy-in just not where you want it to be? So let me know in the comments right now, where are you struggling? Is it accountability? Is it leadership skills? Is it the staff morale? Where is the things not coming into place where you really ultimately want it to come into place? So let me know in the comment section of the Facebook group, over here in Zoom. Let me know what's going on so I can hear from you guys. Where is the struggle? So again, my trainings are super interactive. They're not just passive, take information and go. Need to see engagement. So let me know in the comments. Let me know in the Facebook group. Where's the struggle? Where's the disconnect? Okay. Let's see what's next. I think finding the best way to convey to the teachers the why behind, for example, why it's important to complete daily sheets. Sure, you can explain to them the why, but ultimately you need to get their buy-in by explaining the why. But there's another couple of pieces that are a component to that. My teachers are very accountable to the EC. They're professional. I just wish they would take more courses to branch out on their own education. They all have a master's, but been out of school for a while. So the real question, Debbie, you have to answer is like, why do you actually want them to take more courses? Like, why is it important to you that they branch out on their own education? What value is it going to bring to your school? What value is it going to bring to them? It's not enough to just say, oh, I really love to learn and I really want my teachers to want to learn. Why do you want them to learn? What do you hope that they're actually going to bring to the classroom? And this is a big piece that everyone should listen to, is that a lot of times as directors, we lack specificity. We're just like, oh, I just want them to become better educators. What does that mean? You want them to become better educators? Why? In what area? We could become better in so many different places. What area specifically? You got to get specific. Okay, so what do we do about it? All right, so let's talk a little bit about, what your routine looks like now. So most of you guys have just a million things that you do. So right now, I just want you to take exactly 60 seconds on the clock. I'm going to turn on the timer, and I want you to take 60 seconds and write out as many daily tasks as you can that you do a day. Ready, set, and go. So again, you're listing out in the next 60 seconds all the daily activity that you do. As many things as you could write in 60 seconds. All right, we got 30 seconds left. Don't just tell me one thing. Tell me as many things as you do in 60 seconds. So far, no one has wrote anything. So I guess you guys just sit in your office all day and twiddle your thumbs. 10 seconds. And time's up. So let's see here. Staff communication, sign in, sign out, observation, parent communication, Facebook page, program advising, observations, phone calls, behavioral issues, administrative, parents, emails, greet teachers, greet parents, shopping, newsletters, calendars, create rosters. That's okay, Brenda. I still love you. Sure. Oh, you're supposed to stay sleeping till the end. Misto. Emails, programs, calendars, assistant director in the afternoon, weekly newsletters. Awesome. Yeah. So here's the thing is that you're really shooting darts in the dark because you don't know where the weak spots are in your school, right? So you do observations, phone calls, behavioral issues, parents, emails. Like you don't know which spot is a weak spot that actually needs potential growth, that actually needs assistance right now, that needs a better system, okay? So you just keep trying new tactics, right? So your teachers do the same thing. They just keep trying a bunch of different things, but there's no intention, there's no purpose, okay? Because what you really need is a model, okay? You need a system to plug into so that you know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, right? Lots of people know that they need to lose weight, right? Lots of people know that they should be more healthy, that they need to exercise, that they should spend more time with their kids, that they should call their parents more. That doesn't mean that they have a system for how to do it. They know that they need to do these things. You need the system for how. Many school leaders know that they need better accountability, okay? They know that they should meet with their staff more often. They know that they need to create better systems. I just had a phone call last week with someone who was like, I know everything that you're telling me to do. I'm like, yeah, but you're not doing it. So yes, you know everything that I'm telling you, but you don't have a system for how to do it. Okay, you don't need me to tell you what needs to get done. You know that you need all this stuff. What you do need is you need to know how to do it and in what order. Okay, it's just like baking a cake. Okay, you can't put in the eggs after the cake was baked already. There's a system for how to make a cake. You got to put dry ingredients, wet ingredients, mix it together. You have to preheat the oven. There's a system to do it if you don't want it to fail. You can't just put it in how you want it and just keep trying random tactics and see what works. So let me know if this resonates with you. Just give me like a big capital yes, big thumbs up in the Facebook group. Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about some strategies, okay? So let's say the teacher forgets every single week that she has to write observations on children in the class. Let's say that's a standard in your school, that every single week, every teacher needs to write at least one observation about every child in the classroom, okay? So what are you supposed to do? The teacher forgets every single week. It's like a disaster, like you've had enough, okay? So what are you supposed to do? So you have to ask yourself, looking at through the lens of the 3 C's to build a school of excellence, is clarity, competence, and confidence. So you have to ask yourself, is this a clarity issue? Is this a competence issue? Is this a confidence issue? Okay, so clarity. Have you been clear enough about the expectation? Now what happens is 98% of directors say, of course I've been clear enough. But then when I ask them questions, they're like, oh, I didn't tell her that. Oh, she should know that. Oh, she's a veteran. Oh, I really need to break it down like that. Yes, you do, okay? So did she understand the expectation, and is she clear on why this is aligned with the school core values and mission? You need to get her on board with this so it's not a menial task for her, okay? So she really needs to understand the expectation. The expectation is that every single child needs to be observed, and here is how to get it done. Right? So it's not just enough to tell her, this is the expectation, I need you to get X, Y, and Z done. You have to be super clear about when is it due, how it's due. It doesn't need to be done written, doesn't need to be submitted via email, doesn't need to be done in an attachment, doesn't need to be attached in a Google Drive. By what time does it need to be submitted by? Could she split it with her assistant, or does she need to do it all by herself, right? Don't, like one time I was talking to a teacher and she was like, but I have to do this all by myself. And the director's like, no, she doesn't. She has 2 assistants. She can ask them for help. I was like, did you tell her that? She's like, well, it's obvious. Of course you should ask her. I said, nothing's obvious. She's the main teacher. She thinks that everything falls on her responsibility. And then when the director told her, you know, by the way, you can ask your 2 assistants to help you, she's like, oh, really? That's great. That takes so much off my plate. And all of a sudden, the teacher started submitting those things on time because now she had help. So never, ever assume anything as a school director or owner, ever. So the next thing is that after we understand, like, have we been clear enough? And most people are not clear enough, is competence, okay? Does she have the skill set to do this? Have you broken it down for her into micro tasks so that she sees from point A to point B? Okay, this is something I spoke about in a different Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago, is that teachers typically don't have the executive functioning skills that are needed to complete a task from point A to point B. They just don't have that advanced level of like really breaking down tasks. It's a very different part of the brain, okay? And so she might have the competence level that she could actually write out, you know, a progress report because she knows how to write. But she doesn't know how to break it down, that in order to get this done by Monday at 2 p.m., here are the different steps that I have to do. She can't begin with the end in mind. She just sees, 25 progress reports. She doesn't see how to break it down into, okay, so all you need to do is do 2 a day, and 10 minutes a day that you allot to it, you'll get it done. And those 10 minutes you could do during the first 10, like during the second half hour of nap time, block out 10 minutes for that. Boom, you're done. Like, she doesn't have the skill set or the brain capacity to break that down. You need to do that for her. However, most directors also lack that skill. That's a leadership gap. That's your leadership skill that you need to get better at, to understand how to break things down better for your people, okay? Another thing is that, you know, has she been part of the process in creating the deadline and benchmarks so she has ownership? Okay, most directors just create all the deadlines for the teachers, like submit it by this time or this and this date or get it done here or this is what. Get your teachers involved in it. That's where they have skin in the game, okay? Another thing is that, is there a script, a training, an article that you can give her that can help her out, okay? You have to raise her competency level. Right? When we interview people, so many times directors are like, I need to hire the best teachers. No, you don't. You need to hire teachers who actually want to consistently invest in themselves and grow, because skills are constantly evolving. You hire personality, skills you can teach. I'm going to say that again. You hire personality, skills you can teach, always. You can teach someone anything who's ready to learn. That's why I'm like adamantly against hiring people that have like all these massive degrees and have thousands of years of experience. No, I don't care about any of that. Does she want to learn? Does she have a growth mindset? Does she believe that she doesn't have the answer to everything? That's the question. Okay? So tell me if this is resonating with you so far. Awesome. Okay, great. So let me give you an example of what I mean by a script, okay? So I had a director, who told me that one of her teachers just never wants to get on the phone with parents. She's always dodging it. She never does it, and it's driving her crazy that she doesn't want to do parent partnerships. And I was like, most teachers don't want to get on the phone with parents because there's no end time, because they don't know the script. They don't have the communication skills to talk smooth and just have the sleek conversation with the parent and end it after 5 minutes. It takes practice, okay? It's just like dating, okay? When you go out on your first date, you're like, you're like, you don't even know where to look. You're just like, like you're all like frazzled, okay? Why? Because you've never been on a date before. So you don't know how to talk to a guy, all right? Teachers, it doesn't matter how many years they've been a teacher. If they haven't practiced talking to parents on the phone, they don't know how to do it. You got to give them the competency to do it. Okay? So here's an example of something that I gave directors in the inner circle, which is a small group of directors that I work with very, very closely. This is a sample email and a sample phone script for better parent relationships. So I had the director give the teacher this email script and say, here's an email script, copy and paste it. so that you can be in touch with the parent. And here's a phone script. Okay, so let me give you an example. Hi, it's Connie calling. Everything's fine. I just want to touch base with you about how Max has been doing. Okay, I'm calling a number of parents this evening, so this call is just a 5-minute check-in. Boom! You just set the expectation to the parent that this is not a 45-minute call. This is not an open-ended call. This is a 5-minute check-in call. So at 5 minutes, when you say, okay, I'm wrapping up right now, I'm going to call the next parent, it doesn't come as a shock. You're not rude. You don't have to worry about coming across or whatever it is. You set the expectation in the beginning of the call. This is so simple, yet if you give this to the teacher, you're gold, because now you're showing her how you can have consistent communication that doesn't suck the teacher's time. You're giving her the tools that she needs. It's not enough to give an expectation and be clear about it. You have to give them the competency to get it done. Awesome, Megan. Thanks so much for the comment. Great material so far that you're loving it. How can I know if they have a growth mindset? That's a great question. There's excellent questions to ask teachers at interviews. I actually have a workbook about how to hire, and I'm going to be interviewing someone also who's an expert on hiring and interviewing and onboarding people that are aligned with the center vision. So yeah. Okay, so that's an example of a script over here, all right? So does that make sense? Like when you give a teacher, like you give her the script, like you tell her, like, here is what you need, okay? You can't just tell her this is what to do. You gotta tell her what she needs, okay? Now, let's move into confidence, okay? Does the teacher have the confidence to do the task? So a lot of times people have the competence, right? So like I have the competency to, so let's say for example, every teacher has the competency to get on a camera and talk, right? She knows how to talk and she knows how to sit and she knows how to look at a camera, right? She has the skill set. Does she have the confidence to sit on a camera? That's a totally different story, okay? So one skill, one strategy that I want to give you guys about how you can raise a teacher's confidence when you know that she has the skill set, okay? You know that she could talk to parents. You know that she knows how to write progress reports. You know that she could write lesson plans, okay? But she's not doing it. Okay, how do you raise her confidence? It's called zooming in, okay? So when a teacher is struggling with confidence, you want to zoom in on what she's already doing well and knows how to do, okay? So here's, for example, my son is 7.5 years old, right? He really likes to play basketball. So we have a basketball hoop in the back. He plays with my husband sometimes, and one time he was getting frustrated that he couldn't shoot hoops really well. He was like, oh, I can never reach it, whatever it is. And so we were talking with him about it, and I said, look, Mendel, you know how to dribble the ball. You know how to catch a ball. You know how to pass the ball. Those are 3 really important things to know how to do when you're playing basketball. So you're struggling a little bit with shooting baskets. All right, so how did you get good at dribbling? How did you get good at throwing? How did you get good at passing? Lots of practice, right? Same thing is with shooting the baskets. We're just going to practice some more. So, let's do a couple of practice shots. Let's take a break. We'll come back. But you know how to do so many things already when you're playing basketball, right? And all of a sudden he's standing 10 feet tall. So the same thing is with the teacher. You got to break it down for her. So when she's like, I can't do this. All right, well, let's break this down. You could say good morning to parents, right? You greet them every single morning, right? You know how to do parent conferences. So now let's talk about how we could do phone conversations. All of a sudden you're showing her, you do have the confidence. I do believe that you could do this. I'm going to help you. Tell me how that sounds to you as a director. If you were to break that down for the teacher in that kind of way, how do you think that would go over? Awesome, Angie. I'm so happy that's an eye-opener. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to continue here. All right, so let's move on to the leadership gap. Okay, for every strength that you have as a leader, there's a gap. All right, so what you want to do as a leader is to be able to identify where you're showing up in your strengths. Okay, and then see where it's pulling you down. All right, so for example, I work with a lot of different directors. I work with one particular director. She is super nice. She's warm. She's understanding. Her staff love her. Like, she's just such a wonderful person. That's her strength, okay? Her leadership gap is letting lame excuses get in the way of producing quality work. She lets her teachers get away with the most lame-ass excuses you've ever heard of because she really struggles with accountability. Why? Because that's the flip side of her strength of being super nice, warm, and understanding is her leadership gap. She can't do accountability. Angie says, that's me. That's a lot of directors, okay? Raise your hand if this is you. Raise your hand if this is one of your leadership gaps. Lots of people. Whoa, whoa, yes. A lot of people struggling with that. So Esther and Angie, Sophia, yes. Yes. Let's see over here in the Facebook group. Definitely me. Okay. Yes, because it's really, really difficult, okay? So the thing is that what you want to do is leverage your gap, okay? What you you want to be able to leverage your strength so it serves your weakness, okay? Don't try to be someone that you're not, okay? So like, here's a different example. If you're more introverted, if you're a more introverted director, I work with a director who's extremely introverted, and she's always like, I always have to stand in front and greet all the parents in the morning, and by the time like 9:30 comes, I'm exhausted. And I'm like, why do you stand and greet parents every single morning? Why do you do that? It drains you. You're an introvert. Standing and greeting parents and being open like that sucks energy out of you. Why are you doing that? You have to do things that fuel you. I said, it's not that you should never do that, but commit to doing it maybe twice a week. And then the other 3 times a week, have your assistant director stand out there. And maybe you do dismissal. You can't drain yourself that by 9:30 in the morning, you're exhausted. You're depleting all your energy, right? Stop trying to have other school leaders dictate the way that you need to operate your center, right? Because she was like, what do you mean? All directors do that. Like, everyone's like, of course you have to stand and greet all the parents in the morning. I'm like, sure. The 3 people that told you that are all extroverted people that get energy by talking to people, right? So I always give this example because I'm a super extroverted person. I get tons of energy by hanging around other people. My husband, totally introverted. It sucks every single like limb in his body when he's hanging around people at a party. It just drains him. He doesn't get fueled by it, okay? So that doesn't mean he never goes to parties. It just means that I have to be sensitive about the fact that when we come home, he's shot, like completely shot. So what's super important to understand as a director is that you need to have the awareness of your strengths and know how to use them to build your school. So if you are that super nice person, you need very specific strategies for accountability so that you're leveraging the nice part of yourself, you're staying true to who you are, but you're not letting your people step all over you and just accept all those excuses. Excuses are nothing more than they are. They're excuses. They're not real reasons for not submitting deadlines on time. Okay, so let me tell you another story about one of my clients. We worked together for a very long time. One of the biggest things that she saw the difference in is that she's not in emergency mode anymore. And she's learned so many strategies to be proactive with parents and her teachers. So when fires, they don't come up, and she and she keeps the peace in her school. Sorry, tripping over my words here. So when you learn the strategy so that you can be proactive with parents, okay, what she has is like complete ammunition. Like, she just runs a really unflammable school, okay? Most schools are running with extremely flammable material, constantly fires, constantly issues coming up. Constantly something's happening. And like, I talked to a director, they're like, oh, it's just been a crazy day. Oh, I've been crazed. Oh, like one director was like, oh, I can't join your boot camp. Like, it's just a crazy week. And I'm like, why are you having a crazy week every single week? Sometimes life is crazy. Sure, I just had a baby for the first couple of days after we had the baby. Yeah, everything was nuts. That's a couple of days. not a million weeks. You got to get into routine, right? So your success path, first steps. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let me just see what's going on over here in the Facebook group first. Okay, so here's your action step, okay? Document for this coming week who asked you a question and what was the question. So let me repeat that. Who asked you a question and what was the question? This gives you a lens into some of the biggest weaknesses in your school, okay? Let me tell you, anyone that does this activity, anyone that does this exercise gets an absolute lightning bolt moment of like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that these are the issues that are in my school. Okay, it's going to tell you what areas need better systems, who are the staff that are struggling, and then you'll be able to hone in on the 3 C's to help you become a better leader. So this is your action step. Who asked you a question and what was the question? So how does this all tie in together? Okay, these are the 3 C's of your School of Excellence. And I gave you a dip your pinky feeling of what there is to understand about how your school operates. And it's so integral for you to understand how your school runs so that you can have what you really want in your school. All right, so from this list, I want you to tell me 3 things from here that you actually want in your school. So I made a list of a bunch of different stuff that most directors tell me in the Facebook group and in the Zoom chat. Let me know which from this list, you tell me 3 things that you really want to have in your school. So collaboration and teamwork, retaining excellent staff, motivating your staff, an environment where teachers try new things, days and weeks that run smoothly, time for yourself to breathe and eat, strong personal leadership skills, teachers who take ownership of their work, buy-in from the staff for the vision and direction you want to take your school. So I'm going to give you a minute, and I want you to tell me, of these things, what are 3 things that you really want to have in your school? While I take a drink here. Ownership, time for myself, yes. Buy-in, days and weeks that run smoothly, an environment where teachers try new things. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so how can you have all of this, okay? Because you could have all of this, all right? Not just the 3 things that you said. You can have the whole list, okay? We covered a lot today, and you could take a lot of these ideas and really run with it. And tomorrow, for those of you that are coming tomorrow, we're going to be digging into specific steps for creating a better environment for your staff. Tomorrow is all about environment and culture. But here's what I see typically happens most of the time. The year starts, a lot of you started off the year, and you're motivated and you're excited, and then things come up. And then what happens is you just define them that this is the way things are. Like, it just is. Like in the beginning of the year, it's just crazy. Until, the holidays, everything is just nuts. Or until this time, everything is crazy. Or it's always hard. Or this is just, it's always bumpy now. Or, we always have a hard time finding teachers. Why does it always have to be hard? Why? We're in December now. And you may already be on cruise control, doing the same things that you did last year, and you don't even realize that it's an issue. Like, I came into a school, and there was a teacher who came in, and she was asking a director a question, and the director was talking to her, whatever, and the teacher was like, "Okay, boo-boo, is it okay if I do that?" And she used like that tone. And when the teacher left, I was like, "Did she just call you boo-boo?" So she's like, "Yeah, my teachers, kind of have a hard time with like understanding the difference between like friend and director. They call me all kinds of names. They call me like pumpkin and poo-poo." And I'm like, that's really inappropriate. Like, it's great to be friends with your teachers, but they shouldn't be calling you those names. She's like, "I know, I have a really hard time putting up like boundaries." I was like, "But do you realize that that's inappropriate and that really needs to stop?" So she's like, "I guess they've just been doing it for so long, I tuned it out." And I was like, No, you're not tuning that out. That's not appropriate, because that's the defining line. What your teachers are, they don't know the line anymore. And you're the director, you're the leader of this school. So yes, you're supposed to be friendly with your people, but it's also, you can't call me poo poo and pumpkin and boo boo. Like those are just not things that you call me. My year is so different from last year, but they're equally hectic. Different years, different issues. Yeah, so what we want to understand is, where are the issues coming from? And if issues repeat itself, that means you need a better system for that, right? So that's what I want to let you guys know about the Director's Inner Circle. I opened the doors in August, a couple months ago, and we had about 30 directors join us. And we're looking for a couple more directors to join our inner circle right now. And it's a small group of high-level directors working together all year for 12 months. And so here's what you need to be. You need to be a high achiever. Okay, so this isn't for the weak of heart or the faint of heart. This isn't for someone that just wants to learn new things or just try out new ideas. This is not who this is for. It's someone who wants great things in their school. It's someone who really wants to stop making excuses and knows that all good things come from doing work. Okay, I'm a really hard worker, and I attract people that want to work hard and roll up their sleeves. So you're ready to stop blaming your circumstances, the government, the state, the board, whoever, and you want lasting change and growth in your school. Okay, so yeah, so going up over here, trying new things, teacher buy-in, retaining staff, yeah, all of these things. So what is the Director's Inner Circle? Okay, it's a small group of directors. We virtually meet together every single month. So we have something called the proactive lesson training. Every month we prepare for the coming month's school year to avoid fires, emergencies, and exhaustion. Accountability challenges. We have bi-monthly support calls. We have something called the Vault. So just like I showed you one of those scripts of the email and the phone script. So in the Vault, we have tons of scripts and templates and guides for all of different kinds of issues that come up. So like parent issues, deadline issues, standard issues, teachers learning from their mistakes, all different kinds of things like that, standards, teacher handbook, meetings, all kinds of things. I give you the script and template, okay? We have monthly done for you emails. So a lot of directors tell me things like, I really want to inspire my staff. I really want to send them articles and different things like that, but I don't have time to do that. I do that for you. And all you have to do is copy and paste that. So yeah, so Brenda is part of our group actually. And Brenda actually had something amazing to share with us, is that one of the things that she writes over here is that the inner circle has provided me with a roadmap with specific direction to help me reach my personal destination. This is one of the things about the inner circle, is that it's so important to understand where your destination is and where you're heading. And we're just getting started over here. We just started in late August, early September. There's so many new amazing things that we're going to be rolling out in the next couple of months of just how to consistently become a better leader and show up. So we have our bonuses as well. So we're still keeping our founding members bonus, which is grandfathered into the price of the inner circle. We have guest expert celebrities. So I'm going to show you two of the celebrities that we had last month. And you get access to Effective Meeting Blueprint, which is a self-study course on how to plan, lead, and succeed with every kind of meeting. So the guest experts that we had was Todd Herman. And he spoke all about how to plan your schedule of the day. A lot of you spoke about how you want to have, smoother days, a better routine, all of that kind of stuff. He spoke about that. And Dr. Diaz spoke all about, she gave a blueprint. Over here, one of the directors said, Dr. Diaz's session was like a perfect blueprint, a math formula that I plug my situation into. I know exactly what to do with our concerning behaviors starting right now. So anyone that has concerning behaviors with kids and wants to know how to deal with them and bring it up to parents, that session spoke all about that. Todd spoke about the balance between home and personal life, your home life and your work life. And then the next ones that are coming up are how to hire the right staff that fit your culture. And we're going to be having a guest expert talk about leveraging your greatest asset as the leader. So where do you sign up? So when it comes to the inner circle, one of the things to understand is that this is a application only group because I'm super specific about who comes into the group. Anyone that is part of the group that has been a part of it or knows, knows the people that are in there, is that every single person is a giver, a high achiever, someone who is focused on excellence. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not for people who are looking for a quick pass. And I actually did, let a couple of people go in the group because they were just taking from the group and they weren't real assets to what was going on. And so it's just really important to understand that you need to be someone that wants greatness. So let's see over here. I've always been focused on problem solving and identifying weaknesses to get better. I struggle with seeing the positive, identifying my strengths. I want to build my staff confidence, but I'm not very good at identifying. Is there a book or research you recommend? Let me think about that, Jennifer, actually. If you could ping me in the Facebook group. I have a couple of books, but I want to think about which one would be the best one for the question that you asked. So for those of you that are watching this, I just posted the link in the Facebook group and over here in the Zoom chat, which is a link to learn more about the inner circle and fill out an application. So I'm going to summarize over here and then we're going to wrap up. Click on the link that I just provided in the group. There's an application process and then the page. All directors who want to join the group will be vetted to ensure we create a group of leaders who are truly committed to growth and to excellence. So I'm going to be ready to sign out over here unless there's any questions about our day one. Remember that tomorrow and day 2, we're going to be talking about environment and culture. And day 3, we're going to be talking about your roadmap for accountability. If you are interested and you are really committed to wanting to stop this. We spoke about identifying the strengths. We spoke about clarity, competence. We spoke about scripts and templates, leveraging your leadership gap. All of those pieces, we go into much greater depth in the inner circle, in all of our proactive trainings, our accountability challenges, our support calls, our Volt, the Facebook group. We have goal planning sessions. All of these things are all pieces that are part of that. Getting ready to hire my first employees. Where do I start? I might be sharing that document. I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna